So, welcome to Year 8 Art. The topic this year? Colour. So what is colour? We all know what colours are. We can name colours, but how do we define colours? There are different ways of doing it. It is the sensation produced on the eye by rays of light, measured by the different wavelengths. So the different wavelengths give us the different colours. But also the quality of an object with respect to the light reflected by the object, usually determined visually by measurement of the hue, saturation and brightness of the reflected light. So we will look at all these words later on, but that's basically a couple of definitions of colour. How do we categorise colours? This is the first stage of talking about colours and understanding colours. In that little diagram there are three colours: yellow, red and blue. What would we call these? These are primary colours. Primary as in the first stage. The second diagram has more colours in it. It has the same colours as the first one, the red, yellow and blue, but in between each of those there is another colour, and those colours in between are the combination of the colours either side. So if we look at the red and the yellow, in between is orange, which is a mixture of those two. In between yellow and blue there is green, and in between blue and red there is purple. These are the secondary colours. So the second circle has the primary and the secondary colours. The last circle has another set added in, and they're in between all of the colours we had in the second circle. So in between the yellow and the orange we have kind of a yellowy orange, you might call it a tangerine, but we don't have a proper name for it. In between the yellow and the green we have a kind of lime green again. We don't have a direct name for it, but those are the colours and the mixtures in between, and those are the tertiary colours, as in the third stage. And a tertiary colour is made from a combination of a primary colour and a secondary colour. That makes a tertiary colour. So the first stage is, I will give you a printout of the colour wheel and you just need to colour it in. It's arranged differently from the circles that you've just seen, but basically it works in the same way. So in the centre there is a triangle divided up into three parts, and you need to put the red, yellow and blue in there. Coming off of those are triangles that combine those for the secondary colours, so there's orange, purple and green, and around the outside there is red, red purple, purple, purple blue, blue and so on, all the way going round. There is a little key, so you don't need to work them all out, but you need to colour them in as accurately as you can to understand the primary, secondary and tertiary colours. Damian Hurst used colours in a lot of his pieces of work, and one of the things he said was, which isn't entirely clear, but he said, to create that structure, to do those colours and to do nothing, I suddenly got what I wanted. It was just a way of pinning down the joy of colour. He was talking about his dot paintings. His dot paintings are basically big dots. They're using household paints. He specified the colours, circles on the wall, because they were generally painted directly onto a wall, coloured in with the different colours, and they're organised in a particular way to give an emotional effect, layout, whatever you want to call it, that he was trying to get hold of. So the next piece of work you're going to do is, based on those circles, you are going to colour in a set of circles any way you like, but thinking about how those colours relate to each other. How does one colour look like next to another colour? Maybe if you just use one colour very sparingly, maybe some of the colours are very subtle and one or two are very bright, or they're all very bright, or whatever way you want to do it. Another artist who all of his career was inspired by colour, Mark Rothko. His paintings are huge and they're designed to be stood as close to as possible. So the idea is that you are sort of immersed in the colour. You stand really, really close. Obviously, this is quite difficult in a gallery. They don't always like you standing too close, but the idea is you stand really close so you can't see anything else. So out the corner of your eye, all you can see is the paint. And he paints the edges of the sections in quite soft edges so that it doesn't have a very sudden line at the edge of each colour. He also tends to put panels of colour on which have often a gap in between, but it's also about how those colours relate to each other, the different size, the different positions, and how they interact to give you some sort of emotional feel. It's not trying to be representative, it's not saying it's a landscape or anything like that, or a window. It's just trying to give you an emotional response, happiness, warmth, quiet, whatever it might be. And he called them his field paintings. And this is me in New York with a Mark Rothko having a nice close look. So you are going to do one or two of those in your books. The next section is we're going to come on to warm and cool colours. It's another way of defining, categorising colours, and we'll come on to that later.